Life is short.
Good morning, everybody. I thank the IIHP for giving me this opportunity to present my views. He feels heaviness in the legs, so his parents took him to the doctor. Seeing the severity of the pain, the doctor suspected something and advised to do an investigation of serum creatinine phosphokinase, that is the CPK. The CPK levels were raised tremendously. The CPK levels was 14,820 and the normal CPK levels were around 10 to 120 mcg. So this child was diagnosed as suffering from Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. I know many of you are students over here. So what is CPK? CPK is an enzyme which is released when the muscle is damaged. So this is a diagnostic test for any kind of muscular problem, muscular dystrophy and the Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. So this child was diagnosed as CPK, Duchenne muscular dystrophy DMD, and the initial level was 28,380. So friends, what is the scope of homeopathy in such cases? Yes? What is DMD? I would like the audience to respond so that we can have an interactive session. So what is the scope of homeopathy in these cases? My presentation today will be to make you aware of the scope of homeopathy, what homeopathy can do, so you all get motivated and start practicing homeopathy. It's very good to see that many of you are students over here and there is a lot of motivation which is required for the younger generation to understand the scope of homeopathy and to pursue homeopathy as a career. I've seen many students today, they don't want to practice homeopathy because they feel that homeopathy is not so effective and it is effective only in cases like skin disorders or cases like asthma and psoriatic complaints. But friends, the scope of homeopathy is tremendous. Now, how do we approach these cases? Yes? Any idea, suggestion? Can we have a mic, please? How do we approach these cases?
Hello. Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I had 4 or 5 cases of DMD, and what I know of, it was a long time back. What I know of DMD is that it usually occurs in males. The females are somehow, they are not affected. And what the CPK levels are always high. With homeopathic medicines, I was able to bring down the CPK levels. There was a stagnation of the symptoms, and the signs. It means the patient was able to walk, he was able to get up, but somehow the other, it's a long-term therapy, and most of the time they sort of fall away from treatment. So I don't have much experience except I had 3 or 4 cases of DMD.
So very good. Same experiences here. The case which I am going to share today is a case of many years back. This patient came to me in 2015. And that time my understanding and approach was quite different. I was still trying to understand how to approach these cases. So friends, here what I am going to, it is not that I am going to show a case of DMD being better, but I want to develop an understanding amongst everybody that how do we approach these cases. So what is the basic approach we do when we see a case of DMD? The DMD is basically a genetic disease, right? So allopathy has got a limited scope. The child is put on steroids and then the life expectancy is very small. So friends, where my teacher Dr. Praful Vijayakar is always used to say that where allopathy ends, homeopathy starts. So today my approach or today my sharing of these cases with you is to make you aware and follow that we all can do this. It is not that I can do or somebody else can do, but we all can do this if we understand the problems. So how do we approach these cases? What are the steps? Like suppose this case come to you, what do you do? Yes, any idea, suggestions? Take the mother's history during pregnancy. Somebody says that take the mother's history during pregnancy. Do we all agree to this? Say yes loudly. Morning we all had a breakfast, good breakfast. Mother's history during pregnancy, should we take that or not? Why? It's a genetic disease. So what options we have? We have take the mother's history during pregnancy. Second option is to take the father's history during pregnancy. Why mother only? Why not father's history during pregnancy? That is also, father is also one of the responsible factor for the child, right? Why not father's history during pregnancy? Or give some specific remedy like Varada calf or Calcaria calf, Rustox, or give some specific remedy to this child and expect that we can reverse the process. Or somebody said that take the child's totality. Forget about the mother's history, take the child's totality and prescribe for the child. So we have these various options in front of us by which we can address the problem. Friends, this is the problem which I face. So what I am going to share with you, see, it is not a lecture or a presentation. I am going to share what I went through. This is the same way which I went through. So when this case came to me, I was confused. Mother's history, father's history, child's remedy, specific remedies. So friend, everybody has these cases in their clinic. I am sure all the practitioners, everybody has these cases, such kind of genetic cases in their clinics, and they give good results. But it is always like a hit and miss. If a patient goes to 10 different homeopaths, all 10 will prescribe different remedies. So Hahnemann has said law of individualization. When he said law of individualization, he didn't mean that a patient goes to 10 different homeopaths and they all prescribe different remedies. We have to individualize the patient. So everybody has such results in their clinic where sir said that he has a patient of DMBD. Somebody said that he has a patient of Down syndrome. Everybody has such patients in their clinic and everybody is giving result. But the problem is nobody gives result with certainty. Are you confident when you see such cases? Yes, I will be able to give result. This certainty is missing. Are you following with me? हमारे पास केसेस आते हैं लेकिन हम ये सर्टेनिटी से नहीं ये मैं ठीक कर सकता हूँ जैसा whenever we see a case of asthma we say that yes I will be able to cure it. When we see a case of psoriasis we say that yes I will be able to give result. But when we face such cases, can we talk of yes I will be able, can we be certain about the treatment? And why do we fail? We fail because the most important aphorism we forget. Aphorism number 3, where Dr. Hahnemann talks of knowledge of disease. Organon we all have read in our college days and we read for exams and then we forgot. We don't apply organon in our day-to-day practice because the language of organon is little difficult to interpret and everybody has not its own interpretation. One of my teachers, Dr. Sanjay Naidu, has written a beautiful book on organon where he has simplified the language of organon. So the organon is very simple, but what people misinterpret. So in aphorism number 3, Dr. Hahnemann talks of knowledge of disease. Right? He says that you should have knowledge of the disease. Whereas I remember in my college days, we were taught that don't consider disease. If there are 2 cases of asthma, forget about asthma. Prescribe for the patient. So when we talk about this that prescribed for the patient, we forget and we neglect the knowledge of disease, and that is the point where we don't give result with certainty. The knowledge of disease, हमारे को बोला कि अस्थमा है तो whatever symptoms, common symptom of asthma, ignore that and prescribe. But friends, when Hahnemann said knowledge of disease, he didn't mean that knowledge of disease, knowledge of symptoms, but to understand the pathophysiology of disease, understand the process what is happening in this patient, understand the miasmatic implication of this. So what is genetic diseases? So friend, here today what I am going to share with you, see, this is my experiences of last 30 years which I have gathered in piecemeal. So I call this as GenoCare, caring genetic wellness through homeopathy. Yes, we can give good results in genetic diseases where allopathy fails, homeopathy has got a good and what you say, good scope. So what are the genetic diseases? Few examples of genetic diseases which we see in our day-to-day practice are Down syndrome, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, Fragile X syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Marfan syndrome, and so many of diseases are there. So एक तो problem था first, we have to read 3000 remedies, then organon, and on the top of it today I am saying that read genetic diseases in detail. Friends, my aim here is not to go into the details of each genetic disease, but understand the approach and simplify how do we understand. Today also, whenever a case of any syndrome comes to my clinic, I Google it and I try to understand what the disease is. I don't have knowledge of any genetic diseases. From this stage, I am saying that I don't have knowledge of any genetic diseases. If you ask me what is DMD, I say I don't know. If you ask me what is Down syndrome, I say I don't know. But I know how is the process. So here the importance of aphorism number 3, knowledge of disease. I don't know anything about Down syndrome. After this presentation, if you ask me what is Down syndrome, I said I don't know. But I know what is the thing happening in pathophysiology in the Down syndrome. Are you with me? The understanding of aphorism number 3? Down syndrome kya I don't know, but how to approach Down syndrome I know. So if you see, our body is made up of cells, and in every cell there is a nucleus and we have chromosomes. So we have XY sex-linked chromosome and we have autosomes. And then each chromosome is a double helix structure made of DNA, and there are genes. So friends, if you try to understand these genetic diseases, then the diseases are basically in two areas. Disease can be either a problem in the chromosome or can be a problem in the genes. Are you with me? The problem can be either in the chromosome or the problem can be in the genes. What do we mean by that? So we can categorize all the genetic diseases into these three categories. First is the problem with single gene mutation, where a single gene is affected. And there we have, when you talk of gene, we have autosomal and sex chromosomes. There are few examples when we talk of dominant genes, recessive genes. Again, I say that knowing this is important, knowledge of disease is important, but more important is to understand what the disease is. So all genetic diseases can be categorized into three categories. First is single gene mutation, where the problem was in the genes. Are you with me? I'll just go back again. Problem can be either in the gene or problem can be in the chromosomes. Are you with me? Say yes loudly. Good. Good morning to everybody. After a nice breakfast, huh? So now let us understand the categories. When we talk of categories, it can be the problem in the gene, right? So this is called as a single gene mutation, or the problem can be in the whole chromosome. Problem can be in the chromosome or problem can be in the gene. And when we talk of problems in chromosome, there it can be a numerical problem or a structural problem. So when we talk of numerical problems in chromosome, we have Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome. And we have, when you call it, the structure of the chromosome is affected, we have Prader-Willi syndrome and XYZ syndrome. Please understand what I am saying. So problem can be either in gene or chromosomes, or we have a third category where the problem is in multi-gene. Multifactorial genes are affected, which means that more than one genes are affected. Those are not expressed, but with the environmental influences, those genes are expected, and we have diseases like diabetes, diseases like rheumatoid arthritis. So friends, these are the three basic categories of genetic diseases which you will face in the clinic. So I'll repeat again. I don't know what is Down syndrome. I don't know what is Klinefelter syndrome. I don't know what is DMD. But when I see a case of DMD, I can very easily categorize whether the problem is in the genes or the problem in the chromosomes, or cases like multifactorial where in the case of diabetes, I know that he has got the defective genes from the parents, but he is not expressed. But when some environmental influences, the disease is expressed. Is it easy? Okay. Aphorism number 5, another very important aphorism where Dr. Honeyman talks of the exciting cause and the fundamental cause. So when we talk of genetic disease, we have to now understand the fundamental cause of this disease. So what is the homeopathic approach to genetic disease? Yes? What should the approach? Yes, tell me. Good morning again. Very difficult to take first lecture in such a large gathering. How do you approach genetic cases? Mother's history during pregnancy. That everybody do. But mistake we do is what part of mother's history is important. When I started my practice, so that time there was the pediatric. I started seeing a lot of pediatric cases, and the pediatric approach was difficult. And when I look up to my seniors, so for a child of infant, 6-month-old infant coming to their clinic, they used to say that take the mother's history, send the child home, take the mother's history and prescribe the remedy to the child. Friends, this is a mistake. Every child is different, every individual is different. So mother's history, when to take is important. So in cases of genetic diseases, yes, mother's history is important. But what part of mother's history is to be taken is more important. And when you understand that, the uncertainty will become certainty. Aphorism number 3, knowledge of disease will come into play. So what part of mother's history is important? Why not father's history? What cases father's history is important? So in this presentation, I will go to share my understanding and approach on mother's history during pregnancy, and I call this as a timeline of mother's history during pregnancy. Very important factor for us is to see the mother history during pregnancy, but the timeline is very important. What time you have to take the history is very important. So what is MHDP, mother's history during pregnancy? Find out the mother's remedy. माँ की जो रेमेडी है वो बच्चे को दे दो. Find out the mother's remedy. Or find out the mother's stress during pregnancy. But why are we leaving father? Father को क्यों छोड़ देते हैं हम? Should we leave father? Yes or no? No, father. So as we celebrate Mother's Day, Now we are also started celebrating Father's Day, right? So as mother's history is important, father's history is also important. So how do we solve this case? It's a genetic disease. Stress during pregnancy important. But what causes stress during pregnancy? So DMD is a Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's a genetic disease. It's a progressive disease, and it's a muscle wasting disease. The muscles are getting affected. That is why the CPK levels goes up. Genetic means is an X-linked recessive disease. Progressive means it's a gradual deterioration of muscle strength and function, and due to absence of protein called as dystrophin, the child is affected. DMD, you all can go Google it and read from your book. So I'm just going to go fast because the time is limited. We have the inaugural function after this. So I'll just go fast into this symptom. This is just taken from your medical books. So it's an X-linked recessive disorder. That the sir said that the mother is a carrier and the female is a carrier and the males are getting affected because the gene does not produce a protein called as dystrophin. Now what is the function of dystrophin? Understand, like when we have a door, the door which we have which closes. So dystrophin is a protein which restricts the closure and opening of the door. And when this dystrophin is destroyed, the muscles they open and close randomly. अगर हमारे दरवाजे में अगर वो डोर क्लोजर प्रॉपर वर्क नहीं करता तो वो टूट जाता है दरवाजा. So immediately the muscles are getting destroyed, and when the muscles are getting destroyed, they are replaced by fibrosis. So that is the basic pathophysiology of dystrophin. I'll go very fast with this. Dystrophin is a gene, is the largest gene in our body, and it contains 79 exons. After when I come down, don't ask me about dystrophin because I'll not remember anything. Okay, I'll just go fast to this. 79 exons are there. It's like a glue which keeps the protein together. This is a dystrophin. Usually exon number 44 to 53 are affected. Just for theoretical knowledge purpose, understand this. There is an outframe or an inframe deletion or skip, the exons are skipped. So from 43 to 52 the exons are affected. This kind of reports you will get. So whenever you see a genetic test disease, the doctors usually ask them to do a genetic testing, and such kind of information which we get. And here it is written, if you can read this, deletion seen in exon number 49, 50, 51 and 52. So this patient has got exon number 49, 50, 51, 52 deleted. This is another case of DMD where now 6 exons are deleted from 45 to 50. It is an X-linked recessive inheritance. So try to read these reports, how these reports are looking. So this is an X-linked recessive disease, and these are the exons which are deleted. I am not going to make you all genetic expert, but I am just trying to make you aware that how to read the reports, because the patient is going to bring reports in front of. This is another patient where they say that exon number 44 is deleted. Pathophysiology, lack of dystrophin, muscle gets damaged, replaced by fibrosis. That is why you see enlargement of the calf muscles. Miasmatic understanding of DMD, muscle gets inflamed, that is SORA, increase in cell mass, psychotic, muscle gets destroyed, syphilitic. So it is a predominantly psychosyphilitic disease. Signs and symptoms, muscle weakness, frequent falls, calf enlargement, gait abnormality. This is now, just have a look at this. How will you clinically see and diagnose a DMD patient? See this video. This is called as Gower sign. Whenever a child is affected with DMD, The child will, you ask the child to sit down and ask the child to get up. Without touching, ask the child to get up. What do you see? The child, when was getting up, was putting his hand on the knees and try to get up. This is a typical Gover's sign.
Okay.
This you will remember.
What is another sign?
I asked the child to climb up. The child, because of the muscle weakness, the child is not able to climb up. Practically, this is important. This is called as Gover's sign. पहले का सब भूल जाओ. क्या था पैथोफिजियोलॉजी? Understand this. You have to observe this in your daily. थोड़ा आवाज कम करो. आवाज कम करो. The child is seated on the floor. Child will crouch in front, push with the hands, raise his buttocks, put the hands on the knees, form a triangle. Uses arm raises against the wall to allow standing. And then the child lifts his trunk and stand up. So if you see a patient of having complaining of muscular weakness, ask the child to sit down and get up without using support. If you see this, this is typical of DMD called as Gover's sign. So gait abnormality is there.
Hours long, crisis splitting, experience perilous, decision difficult, and physician must not know what is right to himself. He must, the physician should know, the physician, I am giving emphasis, and what is, must take their attendance into his side. It is the first aphorism of Hippocrates, the father of medicine. The father of homeopathic medicine is the highest ideal of cure is right. The highest, sorry, the father, the physicians must, the physicians are only are physicians. The physicians are uh, high and only mission is to restore the sick to cure as it is stopped. The physician, I am emphasizing on these two words. My objective is that you are the. The is written, the governor, the chief minister, the headmaster, the principal. So these given to whom? Who is very important person. So the fathers have given you very important position in his entire functionings. So you are the respectable people. You must primarily understand the situation. Let us go to subject. My subject is this autoimmune disorders in homeopathic with special reference to psoriasis. This normal immune system, what it does, creates protein called antibodies, and to protect against our pathogenic organism coming from outside. But in this immune system cannot difference in this disease. The immune system cannot differentiate who is inventor, and who is healthy tissue. So they destroy both of them. So this is in oversensitive individuals. So next is, it is main type of autoimmune disorders are, these are the autoimmune rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto disease, Graves disease, and multiple sclerosis, and one among them is psoriasis. There are several diseases fall under the autoimmune disorders. So my subject will be on these autoimmune disorders. It is two work we have done on this core. One is a research paper we have produced, taking all parameters into account and consider them. We have done it. First, there are students they are not aware because it's a mosaic and heterogeneous popular presence is here. Means few people know more than me, few people are less than me, few people do not know anything. So presuming that I have prepared the subject. You see, the effect of individual homeopathy medicine in psoriasis in single blind, single random, simple randomized placebo controlled trial. So in this case, you know the psoriasis is non-contagious disease, chronic disease, and plaque thickened scaling skin and dye flake skins. These are very important findings in this disease. So everybody is aware of that, I know. So this is found mostly in western part of the world. 2 to 4% people suffer from this, and countries farther from equators are more affected. Age group is 15 to 25, and in both sex equally affected. Commonest cause in Europe and North America is in this. So next in India, it is prevalence is lesser than the European countries. It is 0.44 to 2.8%, and it is twice more common in male than female, and it occurs in third to fourth decades. So the course of disease is unpredictable. It cannot be predicted, and there is exacerbations and there is remissions. So this is the brief idea of this. How it is brought on? Brought on by it is a heritofamiliar brought on by stress, anxiety, mental trauma, etc. Yes. Oh, this side. Oh, sorry. So the incidence is, you can see this in the summer it is less, in the winter and in the rainy season it is more. Usually we have to bear in mind that, then we have to proceed. So the chromosome 17q is responsible for that. So markers appears is HLA-CW6. So that is more important for this study. So if one parent of disease psoriasis, there is chance of 15% to suffer the children. If there is both parents, the chance is 50%. If there is non-psoriatic parents, there is chance of 10%. So this being the fact, and how this is precipitated by mostly trauma and sunlight, cigarette smoking, drug, obesity, etc., etc. So, how it is presented? It appears in the dry, macular, and papular and plague of erythema. This is first to appear, and which can be localized areas. And the signs are the scandal grease signs, auspice signs, and Kobler's phenomena. These are the way we can diagnose them properly. So, these are the different types of scales. Psoriasis, I am giving only prep because time is constrained for other speakers. I must give room for them. So these are types of psoriasis, which you might have seen. Here what happens in laboratory, ESR is increased, blood hydroproline is increased, and uric acid otherwise the serum folic acid, vitamin 2 diminished, and hypoproteinemia takes place. IgG and IgG is less. So these are the laboratory diagnosis you can provide us informations. So differential diagnosis, you know, this is about the tinea crurici, pityriasis, eczema, syphilitic psoriasis, tinea unguium, seborrheic dermatitis. So self-care is that when there is a dryness that is itching, so you know, so moisturizer is to apply. Anywhere there is dryness, that itching, whether it is throat or any skin, it is fundamental principle of the. So you have to take daily bath, maintain healthy weight, avoid sun exposure, etc. So, for any kind of research, we must go through what are the different papers published in the various journals. We have scanned also similarly. We are not going through them, but these are the papers we went through them. These are the various journals, peer-reviewed journals were scanned. We scanned nearly 30, 40 papers. I have brought only few of them, and this is the usual phenomena for research purposes. Any research we must do scanning what are the research work has been done. Fundamentally, we have to know different disease conditions and their modalities and etc. which I described. Little knowledge about the diagnostic purposes. So here research project objectives were the study the response of homeopathic medicament with response to change in disease severity and change in quality of life. Secondary objective was frequency, to study the frequency of relapse and recurrence because it frequently relapses. So null hypothesis, when there is no response to the disease. Similarly, alternative hypothesis, when data is significantly improvement is seen, we take it as alternative hypothesis. The next is the parameter for assessment is assessed. Similarly, for null hypothesis, the pre-treatment PASI score. Here, I want to say, please, can you give me the PASI? What is PASI? Please hyperlink that. So PASI means the severity psoriatic area surface index. So this is one of the criteria where we can take this tools for assessing the improvement. So pre-treatment PASI score is less, less bigger, less smaller than, or less bigger than post-treatment is null hypothesis. Means there is no response. If the previous report says there is more, how less doesn't show any improvement, it will be similarly. Alternative is pre-treatment score will be greater than post-treatment PASI. So PASI means, can you say, doctor? So PASI is a standard procedure where we have taken the questionnaires where we do that. I hope you can know he is not doing that. Forget, sir, forget. So similarly, forget. Similarly, for another is PDI, psoriatic disability index. These two PASI and PDI was taken for assessing the improvements, so that that can be put to statistical information. Pre-treatment is greater than post-treatment is means null hypothesis. That is no response. The pre-treatment is smaller than post-treatment. Sorry, greater than post-treatment. That is PDI positive. So that is alternative hypothesis. This is eventually these two parameters were for that, and other is relapse recurrence interval, which is a positive response. Relapse recurrence has reduced, and negative response, that is increase or unchanged lesion. This has been taken as parameters. So overall response, similarly, positive response of PASI PDI score and reduced AR is taken, and increase relapse after treatment also. The pre-treatment score is lesser than, greater than post-treatment. So these are the two parameters taken for alternative hypothesis and null hypothesis. And so this was carried out in our study setting was done in the International Study and Research Center, homeopathy, and the ethical committee was sat, clearance was obtained, and study duration was 2 years. Sample size was 90. Test group was statistical potency group 1, and 50 millisievert group 2, and control group 3. So now this is seen, the simple randomized and single blind method was taken. The sample was taken 299, and but only 90 sample size was determined from that, because randomized control trial was adopted for the selection, and then these 330 in each case was taken off. So in case each case there is inclusion and exclusion criteria is taken therefore. This is inclusion criteria must be sign positive, and Cobur's phenomena was positive, Candle's sign was positive, and all the symptoms of psoriasis was taken out. So 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 exclusion criteria was like this kept also, as usual with all kind of experimentations. You have to exclude some cases which are confusing with the disease also, or differential diagnosis is confused. So then sample, all cases were collected, prescribed forward, and changes in the case recording format. Evaluation of totality was built up. Then reporterization, consultation of the materia medica, the medicine was prescribed. So follow-up was movement was changed, PASI, PDI, RRI, new symptoms were taken. And now, so primary outcome was change in PASI, change in PDI, secondary change in RRI. Result you can see now. This is the result. Almost in the group way, where statistical prescribed, in 3 cases there was no reduction. Otherwise, 27 cases there is reduction. So group 2 similarly, we have got 50 millismol. The reduction in 3 or 4 cases did not have responded. All cases responded. So the blue is your before and is after. Taking that passive and PDI into record. It is passive. You can see now in the placebo, there is no response. This graph shows there is no much response. Only 1 or 2 cases there was response. So PDI score similarly also we observe that group 1 is reduction and group 2 also reduction and group 3 there is no reduction. So this is the outcome of the result expressed here. Sorry. So here also the RRI relapse recurrence interval. You see the positive case was more than the negative response. This is the RRI response of group table. And then similarly, the control group was recorded there also. The positive case is less, whereas the negative response is more. You can see that. So overall response, similarly, the positive response is more, negative response is less. So here only control group, the negative response is more and positive response is less. So all the experimentations depend upon the sample size, sampling method, control, blinding, and statistical application. If these 4 things are the fundamental of research, if we have not applied them, researcher will be skeptical. Skeptical. So we have to take this account, and we have taken this here in this chaotic data has suggested us to go to this Kuskul-Wallis test. Here, the group 1, group 2 passes showed positive response, where the alternative reject in the control group also. So means there was response of the drug statistically. Similarly, pair T test was conducted for other tests. Everybody knows who are these postgraduate students. They know this was they also similarly not shown statistically significance in control group, and positive response was shown in medicinal groups. Similarly, this is another for PASI 1 and 2 statistical analysis. PASI 3 control group. PDI similarly non-significant shown means with PASI and PDI the response was positive. So we put to statistical tools. Then in the RRI group is required another test, not PATI or Kuskal-Wallis test. It required chi-square test. So we put into chi-square test, and we have seen that not statistically important for 50 millismol satismal difference. Means there is no difference between two potencies. We applied 50 millismol, we applied satismal, but there was no much response difference between the two tools. So they were equal with each other. So this was tested in the chi-square test. Overall response was chi-square was similarly shown for the result of overall that is extremely significant. That means medicine are effect homeopathic medicines. So conclusion drawn like this: constitutional homeopathic medicine is the first line of approach to treat chronic intractable disease like psoriasis. No patchy, no sector totality, no acute totality, no one. It is the constitutional medicine who can act. So homeopathic medicine do act curatively in disease which is established by statistics. We can say that we are curing, but the tools statistically we have to confirm that it is active. 50 millismol scale and statistical scale, there is no much difference between the two. So homeopathic medicines are effective in reducing the severity and area affected in enhancing the quality of life. This has been test concluded. So we confirm that subtle homeopathic medicine of the organal medicines, the highest title of cure is rapid, gentle, permanent restoration, most reliable, most harmless way. So next I acknowledge to many people where there are many professors are there in this, and there are many doctors who assisted me in entire projects, and so it is not over. Unless you paper produce in the journal, peer review journal, your work is not over. So we have published in the peer review journal here. So it is published. So each paper must be published in the peer review so that your work endorsed by the people. So this is all about the general idea we have given. So next is my talk is the case study. How I arrived there. I have told statistically very sound. People are listening, but it is not the sole that you can carry on anything. You have not carried anything. You have pleasure. Get it is given a pleasure to you that homeopathic medicine do act curatively for psoriasis. This much you have gathered. But how I proceeded, I must tell you. So a case of came to me, and I treated them scaly eruptions on the both palm and sole since 12 years with itching localized to papules, which was aggravated by winter, full moon, mental anxiety, seashore, and the ammunition by warm application and in summer. Hemorrhoids, there was a comorbidity was there, hemorrhoids, with the bleeding with rectum from full moon spices associated with the constipation since last 10 years, but painless. There was also comorbid like lumbosacral pain since 1.5 years, following lifting heavy weight, exertion, rest, history of chickenpox. Father had chronic disease. So patient took lot of medicine, allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurvedic, but did not respond. So he was married, two children. He was hot patient. I have given grade to the symptoms. One, two, three. First is depending upon the intensity of that symptom with the patient. So we shall mark a plus, 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 plus two, plus one, like that. So you can find that. Desire for salt, easily catches cold, likes warm food. Aversion to sour and sweet, thirstlessness with moist tongue, cannot wait for food, constipated, sweat was profuse in chest region, healing was late. Mentally irritable, hurried tendencies, fearfulness, anxiety, company desire, selfishness, greedy, fear of ghost. So these are the symptoms recorded with the BP and investigation auspice sign positive, and blood pressure was post pandial was 152 fasting blood sugar. So this is the before treatment you can see now. Okay, this is photograph. This is the palm and sole I told. This is taken. So now what happens? Each case we have got a symptom collection and putting them into so two mantras we are adopting. One mantra is taking symptom. Taking symptom in the you we have been trained that location, sensation, modalities, concomitant. It is not enough, sir. Because I have gone through repertory, because the repertorian they must have gone through. Each repertory has rubrics. Rubrics have sub-rubrics, sub-sub-rubrics, etc. And from that we have ascertained there is location, sensation, modalities, concomitant, and another is cause, vowels, SP. Cause, vowels, P, S. What is that? C for causation, A for alternative with, U for unexpected feature, S for sensation ajib, E for extension, B for various type, adaptability, onset, sites, and periodicity. Do you understand now? Location, sensation, modality, concomitant, cause, vowels, P, sites, P,
Sir,
SP.
5 minutes.
Huh?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. So with that we did it, and that by we, you could know that what is characteristic symptom, what is non-characteristic symptom. So we could understand similarly, and then we did what that characteristic important, and then we have a mantra that presenting symptoms, and then we go for causations, we go for mental generals, we go for unexpected features, we go for characteristic particular. What is particular? This five is another mantra. Accordingly, we suggest do analysis, you do conceptual image, only ideal is formed, then we go for synthesizing them, and then we go for building a reporter totality as per the tools necessary for individual reporting. So that we have adopted, the time is constrained. So I did that only. I did that only. Pathological general, common particular we located, reporter totality was done, and so these are the all same thing we have done, and a miasm cleavage was done. Miasm is necessary. So we did miasm, it was found that all three miasms are there. Three miasms are there, and hence mixed miasm disease. Scaly eruptions, nosological diagnosis we made, repertorial, so it came that sulfur was the drug. So we prescribed sulfur in one ounce 4 dose 6 hourly in weekly and followed by placebo. So sulfur, this basis of prescription is understood, and now follow up eruption reduced, hemorrhage reduced, so improving. So when there is improvement in 50 millismol, you go for higher. That we did it also, that you can see. Then three, here improvement continuing, improvement continuing. You can see the photograph here. There is improvement, but not cured. Improved photos. Try. This is improved video. We have taken a photograph and with video also. You can see. So all these are as per the data collection we did it. So he's telling I have reduced. So I am not talking much more because time is gone. Chairman has given me notice. So in the next visit, what happened? The condition remained standstill. So next we thought there is no improvement. So what happened? So we took the symptom. There is no. So totally it was rebuilt, and we're going to repertorize what happened. You see, the same sulfur came. So what we did, the second drug was silesia. A dose of silesia is similarly per weekly we prescribed, depending upon the symptoms, whatever the repertory suggested me. So there was next symptom, there is a reduction. You can see improving, and patient is improving that way, and going on improving till that. But on one point that came, the improved photograph of the palm. You can see sole. So now the improved patient is telling that I am improved. You can see his hand. You can see his hands. There is improved. Okay, he is improved, not cured. So psoriasis has reduced in all aspect. There was sinusitis, dry skin, hemorrhoids with bleeding. So there was no backache. So we took again the symptoms. Why the symptom did not respond? Because new symptom appear in the case. So we reviewed again. Totality was rebuilt. Totality was rebuilt. We rebuilt the totality. Same way, and phosphorus came here. So phosphorus 0 by 1 ounce 4 dose 6 hours. Similarly, weekly we prescribe. So all symptoms started reducing, and on 03, 04, no complaint. So we can see now hand, this photograph. You can see the leg. You can see leg. You can see. So last dose was sulfur. Last dose was sulfur. Why you
I want to
prescribe?
express my gratitude to Dr. Mardi because he's a godlike man and he has cured me and given this
He's
faith
giving his
itself
reaction.
that I
He's
must be
fine.
okay. I will overcome
What is
this.
the reason
So
for giving a
I feel
sulfur?
confident.
Hahnemann and his chronic disease has told when there is a multi-myasthenic disease, you have treated with all myasm predominant in the case. Finally, you have to prescribe a dose of anti-psoriatic remedy. So we prescribe an anti-psoriatic remedy, that is sulfur 201 dose. That's the way how the patient has responded to us. So if we can do this, I think the present time, what is happening? The disease is becoming communicable to non-communicable disease, and the load on this humanity is more now in non-communicable diseases than communicable disease because of the various treatment. Already there is in developed country, the non-communicable disease have been extinct, whereas non-communicable disease is growing. Non-communicable disease to me is not only the diabetes, hypertension, cancer, lung disease. It is all kind of chronic diseases. So homeopathy has ample scope for treating non-communicable diseases whose load is going to future generations. Future more cases you will get on that rather than your all these cases of infectious disease, communicable diseases. So my request is that so you have to go for preparing not in solid in one or two cases or 5 cases or 10 cases or 90 cases what we have done. You have to treat now multiple cases. All patients are 1.64, 1.4 million people are in the community. and keep that it will grow. And in 2050, the population can in the world it can be 10 billion people. So to do that, I give one suggestion to you. That is now artificial intelligence, which can volume, it can scan volumes and can reduce the speed. So that is necessary for future generations. So thank you very much for this. So I have traveled all over the world. I have seen that the everybody is trying to have locating to India. We have made important stride in national flora. Now you all people have to enter into the international arena by your competitive skill, professional attitude, international professional attitude, ethics, values, and norms. So this is to be inculcated from the very beginning. Any amount of physical infrastructure cannot bring quantum change. If the quality human infrastructure can bring quantum difference. Thank you.
Is autoimmune disorders. For the students, I would like you to see the method because Dr. Henneman has said as according to clearly defined principles. So when we follow the protocols, when we follow the standard rule of repertorization, standard rule and follow the instructions of organon, you can see the results. Otherwise, many people claim they are having results. And second most important aspect of his presentation was that he has done evidence-based study. He has converted his study into statistical data and then he has published it into the peer review journal, which is very, very essential. Once we start doing that, if at the student level, you people start making that habit that you should know how to present your studies and how to do the studies, that will help you and help homeopathy in general to get more recognitions. Thank you, Dr. Niranjan Mohanty, sir, for enlightening us with his presentation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, indeed, it was indeed an awesome sharing by Niranjan Mohanty ji and wonderful learning for especially the students. Before that, I call Dr. V.K. Gupta sir to please honor speech.
And with a head high into the scientific community, he has done his research on presence of nanoparticles in homeopathic dilutions. So I welcome Dr. Rajendran. Please take over the stage.
Very good afternoon to all. We are committed to be here today to learn something which we need to know. So all the speakers in the morning session, even during our inaugural session, Swamiji was given an excellent exposition about homeopathy. So indeed we are focusing on younger generation of homeopaths. Why? Because when we started learning homeopathy in 1980s, there was nothing called a post-graduation. There was just a degree in homeopathy. Then 90s we had a post-graduation, and in 2000 we had started PhD programs. So for the younger generation, there is a lot of hope. But what I would like to say here today, the science which we are learning in the form of homeopathy is something more advanced than what we think. So my dear students, as a teacher, I started my teaching career in 1989. And after 20 years of teaching, and still I was teaching, but in 2010, I decided to enter into the area of research. And from 2010 till today, I am actively involved in research. We were all thought earlier that research is only meant for researchers who are not homeopaths. We always ask researchers, we asked Dr. R.R. Sharma, what is homeopathy? We asked many researchers, Dr. Benaviste, what is homeopathy? Now we have taken control of our system and we are taking control of the science of our system. And lot of research work is going on around the world now,
And within 5 to 10 years, the whole scenario will change. And I am sure homeopathy will take a leading role in the area of health sciences. So with that introduction, let me tell you, this study of almost 15 years now, I had gone through a very difficult area, that is what is called nanoscience, which is recently evolved after 1960s, and it became a science after 2000. And it is related to the smallest particles, nanoscale materials, less than 100 nanometer in size. And what is 1 nanometer? 1 nanometer is 1 by billionth of a meter, or in the other way, 1 hydrogen atom is 1 Armstrong, single hydrogen atom. If you have 10 hydrogen atoms together, you have 1 nanometer. So you can imagine the smallness of a nanoscale. And here I have studied with the electron microscope, which is the most recent electron microscope, which came after 2010. And in this study, I have utilized the facilities of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and also the nanotechnology department of NIT Calicut, and the nanotechnology department of MG University, Kottayam. And here I use multiple instruments. But what I am going to tell you today, 2 months ago, precisely in October 2023, October, November, you have seen that the Nobel Prize of current year was distributed. And in chemistry, the Nobel Prize was taken by 3 scientists together. Their name was their name was Alexei Ekimov, Louis Bruce, and Maungi Bawendi. 3 scientists. One of them, the Alexei Ekimov, is a Russian scientist. Others were working in the US. Why they got how they got this prize is for the discovery and the synthesis of quantum dots. Discovery and synthesis of quantum dots. Quantum dots are the smallest nanoparticles, less than 10 nanometer in size. Precisely speaking, nanometer scale is from 1.5 nanometer to 10 nanometer size. So this is the size of quantum dots. These people have been given Nobel Prize in 2023 for the discovery of quantum dots. Especially they discovered the quantum dots of less than 10 nanometer in size. And here Ekimov and Bruce succeeded in creating quantum dots, whereas the other scientist, Vivendi, has revolutionized the chemical process of production of quantum dots. Why it is so important? It is so important because in our day-to-day life, if you see at a TV screens, computer monitors, or so many things, including our mobile phones, they are nothing but QLED, quantum light emitting diodes. And here, this technology was used in industry to build trillions of dollars of business in the last 20 years. And in medicine, it is being used for the diagnosis and also for mapping biological tissues. And the peculiarity of quantum dot is, this is basics of chemistry. Nanoparticles are so tiny that their size determine the property. In chemistry, what we learned is, it is the chemical property of each element is different. Why? Because of different molecular synthesis. But when it reaches quantum level, the property of a matter is not decided by the standard chemical property, but based on the size determines the property of the matter. So there is a huge shift in that area. So when the matter shrinks to nanoscale, we call quantum phenomena arises, quantum phenomena. And this quantum phenomena is governed by the size of the matter. And the size dependent quantum phenomena was known, but we couldn't create
quantum dots and nanomaterials so easily. Why I am talking so deeply about this matter is to tell you something very interesting about homeopathy. And it was almost impossible to create quantum dots for all alone. But these three scientists created it. So these semiconductor nanoparticles exhibit the size and composition depend optical and electronic properties precisely 1.5 to 10 nanometer in size. And nowadays they are used in the sensing of biologically relevant stimuli such as pH, metal ions, DNA, enzyme activity, etc. Also used for the cancer cell detection as biomarkers and delivery of chemotherapeutic agents. This is what the quality of use in conventional systems. But my dear friends, what are we doing in homeopathy all along? What Dr. Hanuman did. When Dr. Hanuman started potentizing the medicine for 1 hour titration, after 6 hours going for further dilution or succussion, Dr. Hanuman was silently producing nanoparticles and quantum dots. We were not aware of that. So homeopathy is the first system in the world started utilizing nanomaterials and quantum dots to cure the patients. And every homeopath in the world is utilizing this every day in their clinic and it is stored in small bottles. It is the magic of science. It is beyond science. And an ordinary scientist can never understand it. They cannot understand it. Because in 2010, when I visited Indian Institute of Science to start my research, because I started PhD in Vinayaga Mission University in 2010. And I myself enrolled as a student, even though I was the director of the college. The director of Department of Nanotechnology, he is good to me, but he asked me a question that day. Doctor, I used to take homeopathy as a child, but I don't believe in homeopathy. I don't suggest you to take up this work because you are going to lose your money and time. And I told him very frankly and smilingly, sir, I don't believe in it. I too have no belief in it. Science is not about belief. Science is doing experiment. And what happened after 4 years in 2015, we had a press meet in Indian Institute of Science Nanotechnology Department where the professor who suggested me not to take up the study, he came and he told the 120 plus people that the study in Indian Institute of Science has shown nanomaterials in homeopathic dilutions. And I was so happy. So, my dear friends, we homeopaths should take the lead of our science. Don't expect somebody to endorse our science. Don't even bother somebody saying it is not science because their knowledge of science is very primitive. Science is going into smaller level. From a macro level, it is going to micro level, it is going to nano level, and it is further progressing into quantum level. And so happily, Swamiji in the morning was talking the same thing. So those who have intuition to know the depth of universe will understand what homeopathy is. Others may not understand. So my dear friends, this discovery of Hanuman's discovery, he manufactured. Hanuman should have been given a Nobel Prize if you look at that point. Because he is the first person to created nanoparticles and quantum dots in medical science to cure the patients. And here, the similia similibus, curator, it is the true therapeutic principle at nano quantum level. Why it is? We have a clear evidence for that. We don't have much time to go further, so I will not go into that point. Let me substantiate my point. I'm going to substantiate why I said this. I said this with clear evidence, pure scientific evidence. Earlier speeches, I was talking more of nanoscale because taking the people from a material level to nanoscale itself was very difficult. But in the day of study, in the beginning itself, I could find large quantity of quantum dots in each drop of homeopathic dilutions. So maximum number of particles in homeopathic dilutions are quantum level less than nano. So here you can see the image of platina 30C, the size of particle between 8.2 to 12.7 nanometer. It is quantum as well as nano. But when you go to the next platina 200C, you will see it is exclusively in quantum level, 6.09 to 3.01 nanometer. And when you go to here, you can see in the platina 200, there are some lines in the 2 nanometer scale bar. These lines are the atomic arrangement of platinum. Every element in the universe has a specific atomic arrangement. And there is a space between two lines of atoms. This space is called D space. We calculate the D space in such pictures and we identify exactly what the element is. It is absolute science. There is no, there is no science bigger than this. So, my dear doctors, what we are dealing with homeopathy is not something simple or common. It is extraordinary and it is uncommon. And here, this is a very important study which I have never told you earlier. This is on platina. I have done the analysis of platina in the last year on 30, 200, 1M and 10M potencies with SAED analysis, selected area electron diffraction. This is an additional study we do within the HRTM electron microscopy. And here the most interesting finding unexpectedly I got is a completely new discovery. What is that? This is, you can see these rings. This is the crystalline formations of nanoparticles of platinum. And you can see the red lines and the calculations are made. And in the 200C, you will see this is platinum dioxide. The whole platina is converted into platinum dioxide. This is very important because the critics of homeopathy always say, if you give arsenic, it is toxic. If you give argentum, it is toxic. If you give any heavy metal, it is toxic. Platina is a noble metal. It never get oxidized. It never get oxidized in normal environment. That's why we call platina and gold are noble metals. And that is why we always use noble metals to use our ornaments because it never get oxidized. Nobody use steel to make a gold chain, but you only use gold or platinum. And this does not get oxidized in the environment, but in homeopathic trituration and succussion, it is getting oxidized. And that is the reason why when you potentize the medicines, every material, every poisonous material is getting oxidized. And once it is oxidized, it becomes non-toxic. The reason for homeopathic drug action is very well known to us today. And here, you can see that this is platina 10M, well within the quantum dot range. And all the potencies, ferromate 6C, you can see this is in quantum level 5.37 to nano level 24.48. But when you go to ferromate 200, it is completely under quantum dot level, less than 10 nanometer. And if you go to aurum metallicum, aurum met 30, 6C potency after 6 hours of trituration, it contains nanoparticles zero point 0.3 nanometer to 20. 0.3 nanometers to 20. Contains both quantum level material and nanoscale materials. And when you go to LM1, 50 millismol LM1, it is 1.24 nanometer to 7.5 nanometer, completely within quantum dot scale. So look at other drugs. LM30, it is 0.27 nanometer to 20 nanometer. So my dear friends, LM30 it is 0.27 to 2 nanometer, 100% within the quantum dot scale. Then you will see next. Natrum muriaticum LM24. See the natrum muriaticum LM24 is zero point 0.4 nanometer to 1.1 nanometer. I couldn't believe the number of particles I could see in each and every micro drop of natrum muriaticum. Millions and millions of particles, unbelievable numbers. Some people can't even believe how so much of particles in one micro drop of a drug. So I asked somebody when they doubted about it. I asked, man, when you ejaculate 3 ml of semen, it contains 140 million sperms. How you count it? So when you go to small, the smallness become bigger. That's why in 1960, Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize winning physicist in the American Academy of Science, said there is plenty of room at the bottom. And he is the first scientist described about nanotechnology in 1960. Yes, see the silicea, cm potency of silicea. The particle size is 1.1 nanometer to 2.12 nanometer. In 20 nanometer, you will see something which is called a nanowires. Nanoparticles have taken different shapes and size. Nanowire, we will call it next. This is, but when you move out of the elements, especially metals and minerals, and when we go to organic materials, in the organic materials, what we found is the size of particles are comparatively bigger. One reason is we are using a different electron microscope for that. That is called field emission scanning electron microscope. And if you use transmission electron microscope, these particles will get burnt. You don't find anything in that because of the energy levels are very high in temp. Next. This is carboanimalis. You can see the size of particle is bigger. Next. And hypericum perforatum, you can see the size of particles are comparatively bigger. Next. And lycopodium, you can see the brick-shaped particles of LM24. In 2 micron and 200 nanometer, you can see the size of particles of natramur. When we are prescribing natramur, people say we don't know what we prescribe exactly, but we know exactly what we prescribe. Every homeopathist should know exactly what they are prescribing. We are not prescribing placebo. We are not prescribing faith. We are not prescribing subjectivity. We are prescribing the medicine at nano and quantum scale. Who can do this? Who will do this? Only Hanuman's disciples can do this because only we have the instruments in our hand. Nobody has it. This is the reason we are curing patients. Go fast. And this is Naxomica CM. Next. So, all these elements I have shown you, I have studied more than 250 samples, not one or two, more than 33 drugs. That's why I'm talking to you with a lot of confidence. I didn't find a single potency without a particle in any medicine of any company. I'm assuring you, it is there. And here, look at here, why I said these biosystems in nanoscale. What is a human body? A human body is nothing but a composition of nano devices. Every hemoglobin is a nano device. Every WBC is a nano device. Every Kupffer cells in the liver is a nano device. Every nephron in the kidney is a nano device. They work independently, at the same time they work conjointly. So when you look at antigen antibodies, DNA, RNA, everything in the human body is in a nanoscale. It is not a gross organ as it is. So the disease originates not from the gross pathological level. The gross pathology originates from the nanoscale. But who controls this nanoscale? And who controls this nanoscale is the important thing. In a biological system, DNA controls the nanoscale.
5 more minutes. 5 minutes.
So here, you know that DNA coding is the basis of growth, development, and termination of life. We know that single cell, the ovum and zygote, when the zygote is formed, then that moment you have the DNA that decides what you are. And here, this gene regulation which controls the development and the existence of biological systems. So the mechanistic model of conventional biomolecular medicine is a completely outdated. It is an outdated, dilapidated system, and there is no science in that other than treating in a mechanical way. But in homeopathy, you can correct at genomic level. I'm so happy. Morning there was a presentation, especially about these diseases. The first paper, Dr. Jain Praveen was here. He was talking about it, and I can feel why the cure is happening. I'm telling you now, and I'm so happy. There is lot of research going in the gene regulatory level. Tomorrow morning, Dr. Santosh Kumar, he is sitting here. He is going to present a paper on arsenicum LM1 used in the study of asthma in 102 patients as a part of his PhD work. My congratulations to Dr. Santosh, and I know tomorrow you will enjoy that. And this is going to supplement what I am talking to you today. Everything is together. And once you take up the science as a combination, then we understand this is what you need to know. The DNA, RNA, and the personalized level is what homeopathy is. Whereas after the protein synthesis, the medicine, the cell structure and enzymes and cell structure, this is what modern medicine deals with. Which creates the cell structure and function, that is the DNA, RNA, is where homeopathy deals with. So which science is more advanced? Absolutely no doubt, homeopathy is 1,000 times more advanced than any other system of therapy as it is. I am assuring you about it. And my dear friends, this is called gene expression. You all the students sitting here in the upstairs and in the back, you are studying physiology, you go back and take Guyton's textbook of physiology and read one chapter, genetics, hardly 100 pages. You understand what I talk today. This is very, very important. And this gene expression, entire process of transcription, translation, and formation of protein, and that is where homeopathy works. And we have enough evidence about that, and medical science needs to accept this Virchow's model of cellular pathology derived in 1865, 150 years ago, is an outdated concept. Antibiotics is an outdated concept. Treating fever with paracetamol is a practical solution, not a scientific solution. So my dear friends, this is the comparison of different cells. See, the small virus is 15 nanometer, cell is 5 to 10 nanometer. What is the size of homeopathic quantum dots in every drug? Less than 10 nanometer. So you don't feel constrained to understand and believe what homeopathy is. It is an ultra modern science. And Hahnemann's foresight and his experimentation made him to come to this point without electron microscope, without any mechanical aid, only by a mortar and pestle as well as a trituration method as well as by succussion. So science is not in the lab alone, science is in your mind. You create science from your mind, and which you practically implement in homeopathy, which Hahnemann has done. So I'm not going to take into a long because time is getting over. Recently, modern medicine is trying to create drugs which they call epi-drugs, which can regulate the gene regulation, epigenetics, but they have nothing in their hand. Without tools, the artisan is sitting. But as homeopaths, we have tools in every bottle of homeopathic drugs. And if your artisanship becomes better, you will be the best in the world. Best people to cure the patients. And we are doing that. We should take pride of that. And you should feel proud that you are a homeopathic doctor. And young students, you have to be proud because not because of faith, but because of science. So homeopathy is evolving as an advanced postmodern medicine. The cure the disease by the most subtle impact on individual gene regulation. That is the reason why I said homeopathy is a personalized quantum nano medicine. And I'm skipping the remaining slides because this is about genetics. We have a constraints of time today. I have to respect the time of other speakers. So just I'm going to conclude this speech by cutting few of my slides. Before that, I would like to tell you this all research work is available in this book, which is called Nanodynamics, which is published in 2015, and also my other books, The Ray of Civilization, Nucleides and Nucleus. Most of you must be seen it, and homeopathy is slowly evolving as a postmodern medicine. These are the important research papers. I would suggest you to read the recent paper, Platina, which is there in the set, that is published in 2023, February, in journal Homeopathy. And another one is Homeopathy seen as personalized nanomedicine, again published in 2023 in Homeopathy journal. And these are the important papers. So kindly go through these papers and you learn more. Science of homeopathy, I am sure, is safe in the hands of the people sitting in the back row. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajendran, for installing such a confidence in young blood. And I hope all those who have attended this seminar today, have attended this lecture today, are going back with a lot of confidence that yes, our medicine are not just placebo, or we are not just a fake science, we are scientific. So with that confidence, you can make wonders with your available. Dr. Hahnemann's vision 200 years ago, he could see, and it is the rightly said, Dr. Rajendran, that it is the science of future. So we are futuristic. So we have to be future ready for that. So I wish you all a great success and congratulate Dr. Rajendran for his excellent presentation. Thank you, Dr. Rajendran.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajendran sir, for your valuable insights. So next, I call upon Dr. Sanjay Modi sir. I invite him onto the dais and start his next session. And the topic is relevance of organon for today's generation. Dr. Sanjay Modi is the author of Organon Made Easy. So, professional contributions. He is an author of Organon of Medicine Simplified, Accurate Homeopathy, conferred Doctor of Science by the International Open University for Contemporary Medicines, Medicina Alternative Institute, Sri Lanka, 2004. He worked as a lecturer from 1984 to 1994 and honorary at the SMT CMP, Srimati CMP, Homeopathic Medical College, Mumbai from 1984 to 2017. Guest lecturer in homeopathic medical colleges, practicing homeopathy for more than 39 years and known for giving rapid results. Sir, you can start.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, all of you. Uh, we are having a good sessions here, and I would start off with a small story, which actually even the Guruji was talking about in the morning. So the story goes like this: that it so happened that in a village, there was a drought for 3 years. And because of that drought, everybody was distressed. So they went to a saint asking that, can you help us out because there is no rains. It so happened that the saint said that on a particular day, you gather, all of you gather here with, what you have faith in. One thing that you have faith in. Now it so happened that everybody came with some religious text. Somebody got a Bible, somebody got a Quran, somebody got a Gita, somebody came with a photo of whom they believe in, and there was one girl who came with an umbrella, and it so happened that it rained that day. Just because that girl had the faith that her prayer is going to be answered. The question that we need to know is, This way? Up. You put on next, now. That's better. Let's put it next. Next. No, before that. So the question that comes is, where's your umbrella? See, there is a beautiful story that rest of the people had faith in something else. The girl had faith in herself. Are you getting to the story? When you have faith in yourself, is what the Swamiji was also telling in the morning, that things start working for you. If you have faith in somebody saying, somebody says like that, somebody did like that, my teachers did like that, generally things don't work. Because what happens is then we just say that I believe it. And there's a difference between actually living like believing it. So what I'm trying to tell you today is this, that homeopathy is an uphill journey, an uphill task for most of us. For me, it's all the more. Why? Is because, I have been writing a book on organon for 3 years, and people are telling me you are mad. इससे कुछ और लिखता था तो और सक्सेस भी मिल जाता था और पैसा भी मिल जाता था. Because organon for most of us is an upside down subject. You know, what happens is, organon for all of us is more theoretical, more boring. But I want to tell you one thing, that organon is the heart of homeopathy. Without the heart, just as the body is dead, it's a flat ECG, you have a flat homeopathy. And what happens is, the way we have been taught organon, we did not realize the importance of it. We feel it is outdated. Now there is somebody who has just talked about it, Rajendran, that Hahnemann had been years ahead, and I'm telling you, not years ahead, centuries ahead of his time. He knew exactly where science is going to go. And this is not one instance. There are multiple instances that are there in organon, which I can show you time and again, that he has been years ahead of times. What happens is, we have misread, we have misunderstood the text very much. So the time is this, that you need to reread organon back again to understand, rather than being indifferent or neglecting that particular subject. Why? Is because, you know, the general trend of people is this, that people don't read textbooks, they read study books because they have to pass exams. I have been teaching for the last 40 years in a college, and I know how things go with students. So they are happy reading a textbook, answers which are ready, and we appear for the exam. What happens is, in that the heart is messed around. There's a difference between, which I want to tell the students out here and also the practicing doctors, that there's a difference between organon, one, and the commentary that has been written by people like Kent, Stuart Ross, Robert, Dr. Dhaule. They are all commentaries to it. Don't confuse organon with the commentary. They are two different things altogether. Organon is an ornament of beads where you can see the whole connect. The beads are all well connected in a very ornamental form. Whereas those commentaries are like those beads that are scattered around. Vital force is just picked up and vital force is talked about. Or susceptibility is picked up and susceptibility is talked about. So there are all scattered beads. Scattered beads can go outdated. Organon will not go outdated. Vital force concept will still be valid. Dynamization concept will still be valid. More and more we get more and more scientific. So what happens is, in the streamline, most of the people feel that homeopathy is not a science as much as allopathy is. That's the understanding we always have, and we are more comfortable probably thinking on that, let's pass this 5 years off and then we'll decide where to go. We are all aware about it, where we want to go. But still, 5 years we are just biding our time. So there are students who tell me, sir, we have spent 5 years and still we don't like homeopathy. It's because the heart is missing. Because heart is not only a flat ECG, it is emotions. Without an emotion, you will never be, it's like this. We are in which month? We are in the month of February. And what's coming now? Valentine's Day. So for you to love something, you have to have the heart in it. If you don't have the heart itself, is it possible to love something? Think it over. And organon is, as I told you, the heart of everything. I go to the extent of saying no organon, no homeopathy. No organon, no homeopathy. What's the difference? What's the difference? One is NO, no organon, NO, no organon, no homeopathy, NO, no homeopathy. No organon, KNOW, no homeopathy, KNOW, homeopathy. And just as we are into this particular, Valentine's week also, you have to have a liking to something. Then only you be after that girl or a boy, whosoever you want to be after. Liking, एक interest. Without interest, you don't go about. And then, when you have a liking about it, you go for understanding it. Because unless you have understood organon correctly and clearly, you will still be confused. Organon, as everybody has been talking of, is not outdated. I will show you some examples where modern medicine or research papers are being talked about now. What Hahnemann talked 250 years back. One of them is this nano study which Dr. Rajendra had talked about. Dynamization, he has done it so many years back. And, we are now rediscovering it. It's nothing new, but it's a rediscovery. And this rediscovery is good for an allopath. But for us, we are neglecting it. We are not, it's like, I don't know, Hindi saying that says, घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर. आपको मालूम है ना, घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर है. तो हमारे लिए ये सब बातें ऐसी होती है कि घर की मुर्गी है, दाल बराबर है. We like to hear Rajendra when he says nanodynamics is a topic where things are going around, where scientists are working around, where everybody is getting a Nobel Prize, and we never bothered when when we were talked about dynamization, when we were taught about potentization, we never bothered much about it. Are you getting the difference? That's because a disinterest, the disinterest that you have for this subject is creating the void that you see in your life and in homeopathy. Am I clear on that particular thing? That if you now want to generate, you know, it's very important because see, when we look to this, do the best you can until you know better. We never do this. We never do the best till we know it better. Because then when you know better, you do better. We want to do better without knowing better. So the time is now we need to know things more better so that we can keep on doing more better. Because as everybody is talking of the future, homeopathy is the future. I say homeopathy is the present also. Why talk about the future? I have survived, sustained in homeopathy for last 40 years. And there are so many others who have survived and sustained in their life for the last 40 years. Homeopathy was past, present, and future.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Sir, my topic is very difficult to put it across. Now, these are all instances that I wanted to show about, but it's very difficult for me to tell me how you correlate it with the modern science. This is a physiology aphorism which gets very well connected to primary secondary action. I don't have the time to talk about it. Next, better, next, 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 next. That's it. No, before that. Before. See, there is a person who has said, I have not lived in vain. Can you understand the courage he had for saying that? And not only saying, he wrote it. He had a steel of heart, a heart of steel to say that, I have not lived in vain. Why is because there are people who are doing research on meaningful living, that those who have lived meaningfully, they say one, they have significance in their life. What is significance? That what I am doing in my life and what I am contributing is useful to others and to me too. So that's one part of it. The second is coherence, that my life makes sense to me. Third is purpose. That whatever I am doing in my life is to achieve my purpose in life. So when you have these three things laid down, you have the courage to say, I have not lived in vain. And hence, from that perspective, next, organon is not a scripture. Next, organon is a way of living life to make it meaningful. Because, see, what happens is you have not understood one particular point which is missed out here. Success is not there in having a meaningful life. If you can see the research work that is being done around, success is lacking. There is no success. It is significance, coherence, and purpose. And Hahnemann had all the three things together to say that I have not lived in vain. And that is why it's this text, organon, is a way of living a meaningful life. There are so many successful people who have repented at the end of their life. Like one of the person is Lata Mangeshkar. Read her last, interview. She says, I don't want to become a Lata Mangeshkar. At the level of pinnacle of success, she says, my life is of no use. You know Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs has written this particular thing, that, he repented being a particular. So you understand this particular. So a person who has written, I have not lived in vain, is teaching you how not to live in vain. And for that, I only tell you that the book is Organon of Medicine. Now I have made it a very simple, but next. Now these are some reviews which are being put across by all the doctors, and they are talking of, next. Let it go.
Hello everyone.
Let it go.
My name is Shri.
Let it go. I had around 40 minutes to talk on. I'm just getting it in a shorter time. Next. Next. That's it. So this book that I have made, Organon, is made in a manner that it's so easy that you read all those aphorisms. It is made so simple, that it is going to help you get in direct connect with Hahnemann. It's a bridge to connect you with Hahnemann directly. And as I told you, Organon is different from the commentaries that you have been reading around. You read Organon, and I tell you, you will fall in love with not only Organon, but homeopathy and Hahnemann too. If you want to fall in love with homeopathy, read Organon. You will come down to understanding what Hahnemann is talking of. Because what happens is, it's about making your life easy. So, for that, I will just end. If you want a life like this, and if everybody feels why only the girl should have the fun, next, beta, next, uske pehle wala. Even the boys can enjoy. Okay? Next. The fact is, in college, we could hardly stand organon classes which we feel are theoretical, boring. Therefore, we have concluded that we have outgrown the need to revisit organon of medicine. Be reassured, the journey will not only be informative but equally fascinating. And I'm talking of it's going to be equally fascinating. I have discovered so many new facets about homeopathy. It will not only surprise you but will make you wonder as to why did we neglect this amazing piece of work. So I invite you, if you are interested in falling in love with the subject, which your future, because after all, see, when we educate, there is a lot of things I had to talk about, but it's not possible. So education is important because it gives you foundation for your future. And your future, if it is to be in homeopathy, you have to have a strong foundation. And Organon is that book that's going to give you a strong foundation. Okay? So for our seminar people, this book is 750. We are giving it at 500 for the 2 days. Next, beta. If you have any questions, you can address to me. Next. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Modi, for Gagar Mein Sagar presentation, because time was too short and organ is such a topic that it is a life learning topic. So I thank Dr. Modi for his wonderful presentation. Now I would call upon Dr. Tanveer Hussain. If you are keen and interested, you can go and watch and see also, because this text is a very interesting text which has been done. I think this is the first time in homeopathy black and white has been made colorful. You know, color TVs have come much early. Homeopathy is to make it colorful has taken 250 years.
Only four entries for the quiz. So one from Hamsa, and one from Devs, one from Jims, and one from MNR. Only one student has registered. I call upon or I invite all the students who are interested, please do come from the college, get registered yourselves.
You have to represent your college.
You have to represent your colleges. Thank you. So, yeah, by end of this session, students who are interested to participate in the quiz, please enroll yourself.
Enroll to me.
Enroll to Dr. Satish Krishna. Yeah, thank you.
At least 4 members from one college.
Yeah, for conducting this quiz competition, at least we want 4 students from each college. Yeah, each team will consist of 4 members. So 4 colleges, we want 4 students from each college. So, and he has vast experience with Department of Ayush in mother-child projects.
Starting at 350.
So I invite Dr. Muktinder sir to carry on this session. Thank you.
Very good afternoon. So, after such an evidence-based and scientific presentations, I would like to talk about the clinical application of what we learn in homeopathy. So I always talk of something which is directly related to your practice. So today, first of all, I'll congratulate Telangana branch and Hyderabad, Greater Hyderabad branch and IIHP national team for organizing such a beautiful event. And also welcome you all, students and faculty members. My presentation today is on dependent personality disorder. You must have come across the people around you who are behaving in a certain way. So whenever we are in a stress into our life, what happens is that stress leads to some evolution of a kind of personality within us. What psychology says that we all under pressure develop a certain behavior patterns. So in the same way, everyone, whenever it is a grief, whenever it is a extreme joy or some fear or something, what happens into our life, as our miasm changes, we end up in behaving like a certain personality. So psychology has defined different personality types like obsessive compulsive personality, passive aggressive personality, narcissist personality, hysterical personality, cyclothymic personality, dependent personality. What I have started working upon is that all people around us belong to a certain personality type. Once we find that particular person is belonging to a certain personality type, we have a set of remedies and set of rubrics. So we take that as a master rubric, what I am doing in my practice, and then add to it the organ affinity. Say is suffering from GIT, suffering from renal, suffering from skin, suffering from neurology. Add to that, add sidedness to it, and thermal thrust, you get the remedy. So this is a kind of shortcut I have developed because of the innate character. So this is one of the innate character. So I'll be focusing more on one of the personality type, that is called dependent personality disorder. So its story begins. Dr. Bowlby has given a psychologist has given a theory of attachment. As a child is born, there are different stages of attachment. Say, for 6 weeks of the after the birth, the child has no attachment with anybody. It's just food and sleep, nothing else. As he grows up, child grows up from 6 weeks to 7 months, he starts showing preference for primary and secondary caregiver. One who gives the care, one who is attending the most, starts getting attached to it. But after 7+ months, infant shows strong attachment to one specific caregiver, while after 10 months, that growing bond with other caregivers. Why I'm narrating this slide is that this happens in first year of life. But in homeopathic personalities, we see many a people are still, they are grown up 50 years old, 70 years old, but they are still residing in one of the attachment types. Either attachment with nobody, or attachment with very few people, or attachment with a particular person, or attachment with many person. I'll further justify that. So in homeopathically, sometimes we grow by body and by age, but by our clinginess, by our attachment type, we remain like an infant or a child. So one of the personality in ICD classification, it has been classified under F60.7. Dependent personality is one's excessive need to be cared by others. There are many people, many friends, many family members around you, those who cling to you, those who always want you near. Sometimes we call it as a possessiveness. It is not always possessiveness. Maybe it is possessive, but it is their clinginess. So person believes that I cannot do alone. So this leads to clinginess and fear of separation. So when you cling to something, you start developing an anxiety, separation anxiety, that I cannot go away from this person, I cannot leave away from this particular place, this particular comfort zone. So you start clinging to it. So individuals who suffer with dependent personality disorder underestimate their abilities. They accept criticism and disapproval and even criticize themselves. मेरे से नहीं होगा, I cannot do it. Please मेरी help कर दो. So helplessness feeling, dependence feeling, clinginess, carried desire to be, mesmerized desire to be. These are the set of rubrics which these clingy people they show. So they sometimes suffer lack of confidence. They sometimes suffer too much dependence, or like alumina, they don't take their decisions. So the individual has a hard time making decisions without advice. So individual needs someone else to take over major areas of our life. So that the individual has a difficult time disagreeing with other people. Because supposing the one is a dependent personality disorder, if someone has an opinion, so he'll not show his disagree because of fear of being disapproved. So I'll not be loved, I'll not be cared. जब मेरे को जरूरत पड़ेगी तो फिर मेरे साथ नहीं होगा कोई. So that kind of insecurity in the mind make one a clingy personality. So that trouble doing anything at her own due to lack of self-confidence and their capabilities. So what are the features? One is individual who whatever it takes to receive support and nurturance from others. तो अगले की support के लिए वो किसी भी हद तक compromise करेगा. Individual feels uncomfortable alone because he or she fears an inability to take care of herself. Individual searches for another relationship for care when a close and one ends. So these are the people who sometime in young generation teenage, if there is a breakup, so they'll be in a hurry to form a new relationship because they cannot stay alone. So even it is not only to the females, yes, it is more in females, but also to the males, to the kids, to the old age even. As the old age geriatric, it also develops further. So I'll talk about the materials. Another is separation anxiety disorder. So we in clinic do a test that infant is brought on with the mother to the doctor, and after some time she leaves the infant with the doctor and tries to go out. If the child start crying, and how vehemently the child is crying, and then we call mother back and there is a reunion, how the child has behaved in the reunion. So the remedies like calcarea, the remedies like silkesia, the weak remedies, they will not bear the separation of mother. And the remedies like fluoric acid, the remedies like opium, like sepia, they will not react. Mother is going, it's okay. And after reunion, when these selfish remedies like lactases, like phosphorus, they will behave very warmly, and when the mother is not there, they will attach to the other person. But whenever the mother come back, they will cling to the mother. So that kind of behavior in anxiety disorder, separation anxiety, we all suffer. You can remember homesickness is one of the major symptom of separation anxiety. Then when you go away from your home, when you go away from your comfort zone, you feel nostalgic. Or when you are going away from your loved one or someone is leaving you, you feel separation anxiety. You want your loved one to be along with you always. But if this separation anxiety becomes a kind of uh, non-compliant or kind of dependent on others, then it is a dependent personality disorder. So clingy is trending to stay very close to someone. Clingy person stays close to and depend upon a person who is taking care of them. So this was the child. So this child never allows mother to go. So this child, as you are saying, that is not allowing the mother to go away. And here you see that mother is, there's a particular sound made by the child, like a moaning and dependence. Very soft and very mild child, but crying for help for the mother. So this, although every child is clingy with the mother, but when this clinginess, when the parents or the mother is complaining that this particular child doesn't allow me to the household chores, always clingy to me, never going away, never allowing me to do any work. So this kind of dependence of the child makes mother unfit. So this kind of need for means need for care, need for consolation, and mother is patting on the back. So this kind of clinginess, I'll show the other slides also, other videos also. So this kind of clinginess is particularly, can anyone tell the remedy which has a mild cry, which has moaning, which is very dependent, and which needs care and affection, which need consolation? What is the remedy? Pulsatilla, very right. So this kind of clinginess is particular in pulsatilla. So pulsatilla is shy and cling to the mother, makes good contact with doctor, but from the distance and from the mother's lap. Often the mother discloses that whenever the child sees an opportunity, she'll come and sit on her lap and ask her, Mummy, do you love me? So there are two remedies we have in our materia medica, tuberculinum and pulsatilla. And they will complain. They'll blackmail and say, you don't love me. But tuberculinum is for desire for change, while pulsatilla is for desire for clinginess, desire for support. So pulsatilla child always want mothers, leaves no opportunity to get that consolation and love from mother. So pulsatilla toddler will always cling to the mother, mother's baby. So pulsatilla people, even when they grow up to 90 years of age, they are mama's babies. I remember one of the old man I was treating for Parkinson, and whenever I visited or he visited my clinic, oh mama, oh mama, oh mama, 90 years old man, mama's baby. So pulsatilla is as if umbilical cord is still attached to the mother's womb. So they are so dependent upon their mothers. They want someone or even or an article of the mother or something, a photo of the mother, anything of the mother or mother figure, not particularly mother. They always need some memory of their mother to live with. So pulsatilla people, whenever you see, they are clingy, they need help, they need consolation, and they seek the care like the mother gives to a child. So they will see that mother figure in friends, mother figure in their wife or husband, or the mother figure with a figure in their neighborhood or in the roommate. So they'll always be needing mother's love. That is peculiar of pulsatilla. So the umbilical cord has never been truly detached. Like a teddy bear or a favorite blanket would always be there in their. So she craves attention and affection. She is better by consolation, vulnerable to other children, easily bullied. So pulsatilla always complain that I'm being bullied. So whenever you take history, when you talk to the pulsatilla, so while talking, they will cling to the doctor. The doctor, uh, I'm, I hope I'm not boring you. मैं बोर नहीं कर रही हूँ आपको. तो आप and when she will come with the children, pulsatilla is such a selfish mother that she will ask for her medicine first, even if the child is in fever. Usually, a mother will come and ask for the child first. Please, doctor, check my child. But this pulsatilla will say, doctor, पहले मेरे को देख लो, इसको बाद में देख लेना. So that is a particular pulsatilla. They will call more attention for themselves, more care for themselves. That is peculiar of pulsatilla. Whenever you get a pulsatilla patient, they need lot of care, attention, consolation, and that is their need. And always complain we are not getting sufficient. That is very important. Whatever love you give to pulsatilla, they are still lacking it. That's why people start ignoring them because they are too much depending for care and love. And that is their main feeling, being neglected. Because whatever you creating energy, same energy returns to you. If you feel neglected, people will start neglecting you, and this is the complaint of pulsatilla, that all people neglect me. So they want safety and security of the mother, otherwise will resort to the thumb sucking or overcome their insecurity. So they'll hold something. So they love fuss and care assist. What are the remedies which don't love fuss and care assist? Can anyone tell me? Any remedy which don't, the child which don't love being hugged or kissed? Anyone? Sina. Sina is the child which don't like to be loved and kissed. Other remedies, platina. Platina won't. They'll just, if you love, kiss them, they'll wipe it away. No, ganda. So pulsatilla, they have a sense of superiority that you will make him dirty. So that pulsatilla always needs it. Another remedy which need, so pulsatilla always want to be carried because want of touch of mother more than movement. So whenever they are having, as I shown you the video, so they will need more of touch of the mother than being in the speed. Ferrum, chamomilla, these remedies will want to be carried in the speed, but pulsatilla will need more of love, care, and touch particularly. Another remedy which needs touch, I'll show you is, so relieved by fast motion, is bromium and arsenic album. So these two remedies which needs while carrying, they need the motion. So mother should walk around while carrying them. That is pulsatilla and bromium. Sorry, arsenic and bromium. So pulsatilla rubrics which show that it is a dependent personality, consolation, rubbing amelioration, fear alone of being, horrible things affect. So if these children, if they see any horror scenes or something in the mobile, so they'll get. So once I remember a case of pulsatilla, asthma coming to me, always coming to me. Mother said there is no problem with him. We are giving everything. There is no stress. When I asked him, when I took the child into confidence, it was a grown up child of 8 years. So I told him what happens. He says that when he plays a game, and in a game, particular mobile game, there is a particular character which horrifies him. The moment he suddenly sees that particular character, he gets frightened and wants to cling to the mother. And if mother is not available, he'll get a asthmatic attack. So these days, these gadgets, our kids, they are watching the screen all the time. In watching screen, even if they get something horrible over there, and if it affects them, so Coculus, Netramure, phosphorus, pulsatilla, these are the remedies, calcareas. So they will, whenever they see such content, they will get horrified. So these, you see, all these remedies, all these rubrics are covered by pulsatilla. So he seems close to chamomilla sometimes because chamomilla is also very clingy. But chamomilla's demanding cry is very irritating to your. You see that how homeopathy works is the chamomilla is such an irritable child that when it is around you, as we saw in this video, that mother is caressing the child. But if there is a chamomilla child around you, in our materia medica, it is written that you feel like slapping the child. So chamomilla cry would be such that it will pass on to you that irritability, and a mother will become a chamomilla when there is a chamomilla child around. And if a pulsatilla child is there, mother will become a pulsatilla. So if a pulsatilla child, he will get caressing, but if a chamomilla child, he'll get a slap. So the kids, you feel like slapping them, it is chamomilla, right? So pulsatilla has pitiful cry and chamomilla has snarling cry. It will irritate you. So this is another video of pulsatilla child. You see now. So see what mother is doing. So this is a particular, I'm stealing some time. Another remedy similar to that is bismuth. In Canterbury, it is written that always holds the hand of mother. I recently had a child who was not allowing mother to even go to the washroom 24/7. He needs mother, 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 mother. And mother was so annoyed that she said that I have started praying that God, why you have given this baby to me? My life is a hell. So bismuth are like that. They cling so tightly. Solitude is unbearable. So if there is a bismuth child, that and a story of this child was this is a girl and her brother tries to discipline her. No one else, father, mother, they are quite easygoing, but this elder brother is trying to correct. Whenever she makes any mistake, he brings her little younger sister to a room and make her to say sorry. Until unless she says sorry to all the family member for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 or 4 hour, he'll just leave him alone, her alone. And from that, her this clingy behavior of bismuth has come. So difference between pulsatilla and bismuth would be that pulsatilla will want most of the time only mother, but bismuth want anyone around, any maid, any mother-in-law, any dadima, any nanu, anyone. But he will not be alone for a second, even if it is a teenager child. So that is particular about mismatch will make do what other familial faces or family circle. So this is difference between pulsatilla and bismuth. So they wish to hold on to others either physically or metaphorically. This manifests as calling out for help during dream. So child cling to the hand of his mother or father, desire to hold on being held by attendant. So clinging to person, to furniture, this tendency may be witnessed in the adult in a more compensated fashion in form of emotional dependency. So bismuth mother will not allow their kids to go abroad. They'll not allow their kids to go in the hostel. They will always want their kids to be around her. Especially the elder ones, they will want, they will not allow the family members to do the job. I had a patient who has just resigned her job because her mother was not allowing her to go outside. So that was a bismuth mother. So they need to be people because their worries, frustration, and fear crowd in on them when they are alone. So whenever they are alone, their anxieties, their fears, their worries, they start overpowering. So they want someone around. So Alan Keynote says, Bismuth, solitude is unbearable. Desire company, child hold on to his mother's hand for company. So other remedies are kalikam, lilium tig and lycopodium. Anguish sits, then walks, then lies, never long in one place. That is bismuth. So bismuth when alone will just be like tossing about. This tossing about means from this side of bed to other. We usually read this in arsenic album. But bismuth has the same similarity, same intensity of this symptom. So when you see the 15th row, you see phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth in the same row. All these are clingy remedies. So phosphorus, arsenic, bismuth have theme of being unloved and alone. All these remedies. So fear of being alone have all these remedies. Company desired for has all these remedies and clinging has all these remedies. So as we go down the grip, the reactivity decreases and we find that tendency to form relationship is diminishing. So bismuth has one-to-one relationship while phosphorus, if you go to the phosphorus, wants everyone around him. While bismuth wants one person around him. Same way arsenic wants security and warmth of the person who can take care of calling the doctor or the lot of things around him. While antimony wants a particular person again, the person to whom he, because it's a remedy of love sickness, sentimental mood in the moonlight, antimony crude, you know. So it is one of the sentimental remedies, clinging remedies. So arsenic is more limited in relationship, while antimony clings to attendance. So I'm going fast. So bismuth totality, if you see, it's very near to arsenic except in clinging and take hand of mothers. I'm going fast. I know Dr. Santosh is waiting an opportunity to stop me. Bismuth, solitude is unbearable. Dr. Hahnemann says there is a fear of being alone and desire for light and company. So Dr. Shankaran says arsenic views the world as threatening and feels isolated and insecure, while Antim feels that he has been disappointed and need to isolate himself. While Bismuth feel very alone and will be secure in company of only particular person. So that is very important. Now coming to the phosphorus child, how you differentiate between a calcarea child and phosphorus child. Phosphorus child, when you see, will have a face-to-face hug to the mother, chest-to-chest contact, phosphorus. While a calcarea child will need a support on the back. So he will sit with the back to the mother's abdomen. While phosphorus will sit face to her mother's abdomen. I'll show you a video of phosphorus child. So this is a particular clinginess of phosphorus, face to face, holding on to the chest of the mother. So this child was again, this is a Malaysian child. So they always, the mother usually complained, doctor, my child always need love, need stories, need to be massage. You see the need, you see that. Always a hand on the back, phosphorus. So this is particular of phosphorus. And the same child after giving medicine, the mother reported me that after your medicine, he is a playful child now.
Thank you, doctor.
So this is the way how phosphorus works. So affectionate, magnetized desire to be, and ameliorate will come close to you and wants touch. Even the phosphorus ladies, they will insist you, doctor, please examine me. They want touch, they want close affection of a doctor, anyone. So they will meet you, they will hug you,
Dr. Singh,
and they will
5
have a
more
kind
minutes.
of 5 minutes. 5 more. Thank you. So will come close to you and want touch, desire to be magnetized. The phosphorus patient loves to be rubbed because rubbing relieves the symptoms. He loves to be magnetized. So phosphorus loves sympathy, touch, massage, which is opposite of sepia. So tall, slender persons, narrow chested, transparent skin. So phosphorus are the people who are very sensitive to climatic changes, who are sensitive to X-rays, sensitive to MRIs, sensitive to environmental changes, thunderstorm. So any change, electrical changes around. I remember one of the person, the child, whenever she goes to her nanny's house, she always falls sick. So I tried to find out the reason, and ultimately the reason find out that her nanny's house was under a high tension wires. Whenever she goes to her nanny's house, she falls sick. without any reason. Whenever she, even if she goes for hours, she'll fall sick. And ultimately, how I came to know about that is that mother said that she is very sensitive to thunderstorm. And yesterday we went to a place where there were a lot of wires around and she falls sick. And then I asked whether it is the same situation in Nani's house, and we tried it many a time. Whenever she used to stay under high tension wire for some time, she'll fall sick. That is phosphorus. So phosphorus is very sensitive to electrical changes around them. So touch sensitivity, you see these rubrics. Here you will find the phosphorus, sensitive to touch, pains or touch, sensitive larynx to touch. So there are many symptoms. Touch sense of phosphorus is very much hyperactive. So state unchanged, this is a big read. Then is antimptart. Antimptart again is a always try to be carried on the shoulder. While arsenic, I'll show you a video of arsenic. See the anxiety. So this is particular arsenic. Mother will move, always move the child, and the child is clinging to the mother. And when I try to examine the child is showing lot of anxiety. So this is anxiety on the face. So that is particular of arsenic. About health, exaggerating symptom to assure attention. As I just intended to examine the mouth, but he was crying as if I put an injection to him. So little things they exaggerate. So same way, lactasis, gelsemium is another remedy where it is a clingy vine. They always want to cling to one person or someone. So what is difference between argentum nitricum and gelsemium? Anticipation anxiety. Before viva, before examination, both have diarrhea. Both have diarrhea when going to an ordeal or unusual exception. Only thing is that gelsemium will try to sit in a corner and will say, don't disturb me before viva or before any anticipation. We will just try to hold on because muscles does not obey the will. While argentum nitricum in anxiety will start moving. Oh, I'm getting late, hurried. So gelsemium person will go slow in anxiety, anticipatory anxiety, while argentum nitricum person will go hasty and hyperactive in anxiety. So this is how you differentiate the anxieties of different remedies. So same way, the sanguinaria is another remedy, embragracia is remedy, britamure, because of time constraint, I'm not talking in detail about all these remedies. So calcarea, as I told you, that will have a support on the back. So that way, I hope you got the essence of the things. You can get a rubric from the repertory and try to find the different shades of the same rubric into the different remedy. That individualization will help you to reach the remedy. I hope I have succeeded in conveying my message. Thank you one and all for giving me a patience here.
Thank you, Dr. Tanvir, for Dr. Mustinder Singh, for your